Good morning, Dead Reading staff, parents, and students. Happy Tuesday. I hope your parents saw the email yesterday that I sent in my Monday newsletter that talks about our first fundraiser for the year. We are so lucky to be able to have fantastic specialists at our school. We have band, dance, music, art, and all of those things get provided to you. The only way that we're able to do that is through the generosity and support of your families and your parents at home. And so even though this year we're not at school and in person and we're not able to do our in-person fundraisers, we still need to be able to raise a little bit of money in order to support our specialists as well as our classroom teachers. Every one of your classroom teachers is given $10 per student in order to spend on supplies that they may need that go above and beyond the things that we would normally supply at a school. For instance, they may need supplies for a science experiment or right now something that they're doing online that may help with their learning. So we are kicking off our penny wars. 1, 2, 3, 4. We declare a penny war. That information went home yesterday. Not this Friday, but next Friday on September 11th, we will be having a drive-through pickup for your next set of curriculum. And during that time, we'll have buckets out that we will be collecting pennies. Of course, we also take check donations and other cash, not just pennies, but it's really fun for the kids to be able to take part in the fundraiser. Look through your couch cushions, maybe you're looking in your car, wherever you can to find those coins. We appreciate it. It really adds up, and we are so grateful to have had such wonderful support in the past, and I know that that will continue this year. So we will be talking about that every day. I believe that there are prizes and other incentives that we will be talking about. So for now, start looking for those pennies or quarters or dimes or $5 or $10 or whatever you have that you can find. Okay. Last week we read a book called Island Born. And this week we are going to read another book. This is actually a nonfiction book. So that means that it is a real story about a real person. It has been very, very condensed into a shorter book. But we're going to be talking a little bit more about, the book is about a man named Paul, and it's actually pronounced Erdos. It's E-R-D-O-S, but the way that it is pronounced is Erdos. We're going to learn a little bit about him through this book, and then this week we're going to continue to learn a little bit more about him and his identity and how he found who he wanted to be and how that fit into our greater world. So this is kind of going right along with what we've been studying. So this is called The Boy Who Loved Math: The Improbable Life of Paul Erdos. And for those of you who are a little bit older and can kind of grasp a little bit more of the humor that's in here, you might notice that the author uses some mathematical words throughout this book. So let's see here. The Boy Who Loved Math. There once was a boy who loved math. Try to get a little bit closer for you. He grew up to be one of the greatest mathematicians who ever lived, and it all started with a big problem. My glasses on again. Notice how the author uses the actual digit. I don't know if you can see that, for 1. Paul Erdos lived in Budapest, Hungary, with his mama. Mama loved Paul to infinity. Paul loved Mama to infinity, too. When he was 3, Mama had to go back to work as a math teacher. She didn't want anything bad to happen to Paul, so she left him with one person she knew would take very good care of him. She left him with Fräulein. Fräulein is a German word. Fräulein had too many rules. That was the problem. Paul hated rules. He hated to be told when to sit still, when to eat, when to go to sleep. What could Paul do? He couldn't exactly solve the problem, but Paul knew that when summer came, Mama would be home with him all day, 100% of the time. So he taught himself to count really high. Then he figured out how many days it would be until summer vacation. It made him feel much better to know the number. So Paul kept counting and thinking about numbers. One day, when he was 4, Paul asked a visitor when her birthday was. She told him. "What year were you born?" he asked. She told him. "What time?" She told him. Paul thought for a moment, and then he told her how many seconds she'd been alive. 1,952,358 seconds. Paul liked that trick, and he did it often. Paul played with numbers. He added them together and subtracted them. One day he subtracted a bigger number from a smaller number. The answer was less than 0. How could a number be less than 0? Mama told him numbers below 0 are called negative numbers. Paul thought that was so cool. Now he knew for sure he wanted to be a mathematician when he grew up. But first, he had to tackle another big problem. School! Mama sent him to school, of course, when it was time. But Paul and school were not a good match. Paul could not sit still for long, so he got up and ran around the classroom. But that was against the rules. Oh, how Paul hated the rules. How could he solve this problem? Paul told Mama he didn't want to go to school anymore. Not for one more day. For 0 days. He wished he could take days away. Negative school days. He pleaded with Mama to stay home. Luckily, Mama was a worrier. She worried about germs a lot. She worried Paul could catch dangerous germs from the children at school, so she helped him solve his problem. She said he could stay home with Fräulein. But even Fräulein was better than school. Maybe 500 times better. Fräulein and Mama did everything for Paul. They cut his meat, they buttered his bread, they got him dressed, and they tied his shoes. Okay, we're going to stop there for today. You may be having some questions about Paul and his mom and wondering why he feels certain ways, maybe why he doesn't like school. And you will learn more about that as we keep talking about Paul. Have a terrific Tuesday, and I'll see you soon.